Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are watching this. And today we're going to talk about the fuel system for the micro engine in the Mini basically. So I've done a little diagram on the board, so we'll go through that and then I'll show you some of the parts that I have actually got to hopefully achieve this. Right, I've had to turn the light above my bench out because you can't, it's just flickering. So, got my pointer. So, we'll start at the back here. So this is the fuel tank obviously. Now, you would usually have on an SPI, MPI, you'd usually have a fuel pump in here. Now I'm getting rid of that and I'm moving it to an external pump, but I'll go through that in a minute. So we'll start here. So this will be a hard line, which will then go up to, so the orange things are Jubilee clips, fuel clips. The red is hard line and the blue is rubber hose. So we'll go hard line, obviously, then to rubber hose. Then that will come out and it'll go to rubber hose, which will then go to a pre-fuel filter. Then that'll come to rubber hose. Now the fuel pump I've got, the inlet is an 8mm and the outlet, the inlet is a 12mm and the outlet is an 8mm. So with that there, the fuel hose I'm running is 8mm all the way through, but here it's going to have to be a 12mm hose. So you can get them plastic metal reducers. So we're going to go from an 8 to a 12mm just to get it into the pump. So there's the fuel pump there. Then we'll have to come back out of here. This will be an 8mm line again. Then this will be a hard line all the way through up until we get to near the injectors. We'll switch it back to rubber. Here's the injection unit. There will be obviously there's a fuel pressure regulator on here as well. Then you've got the rubber hose back to the hard line, all the way back to rubber hose into the tank. So that'll be the return line. So hopefully that makes sense. So let me go through why the external pump first of all. So I run an external fuel pump on the Fiesta when I had the Puma, and before I fitted a fuel cell to the Fiesta, we had an internal pump there, and they were forever having problems with them. And when you've got to get access to the tank, that's the tank out, it's just something that I'd rather eliminate. So I'm going to have an external fuel pump for that reason. Plus I can chop and change if I'm not happy with certain things, and it's much easier to do. And regards to sizing and things like that, it doesn't really matter too much because it just depends where you mount it. Obviously it's not to scale, is it? Let's face it. But let me go through some of the parts. So we'll start with the rubber fuel line. So this is, if you can see there, this is fuel injection SAE J30R9. So the important things on this are, well, it all is important. The SAE 30 or J30 is fuel hose. If it doesn't say that on it, don't use it. It's not good enough, and especially with all this E10 coming in, don't use it. This is for a fuel injection system. I'm running a fuel injection system, and it's R9. So R9 is currently one of the highest spec fuel hoses. Again, I've tried to future-proof this with going with the R9 stuff. So it starts off about R6, I think, R6, R7. It's for your carburetted stuff and low pressure stuff. And you go to your R8 and R9, which is for high pressure fuel injection systems. Good thing about the R9 is the R numbers go up, and usually that corresponds to how many tests they have to pass and how rigorous it is to be used. So again, try to future-proof it. It's it's expensive. It's more expensive than your cheap rubbish that doesn't even say fuel hose on the side of it. Do you know what I mean? Or the SAE J30. That is exactly what you need. So this is an 8mm, 7.6mm, 8mm fuel hose. So that's the rubber hose. This should be 5/16 copper pipe for fuel lines. Unfortunately it's not, it's 3/16 because that's what the eBay seller decided to send me. So a bit of a backwards and forwards. They decided that I could keep it and I could have a full refund. It saves them sending it back to China, but even though I bought it from a UK seller. Anyway, so the 5/16 fuel hose hopefully should be here pretty soon, and that's what I'm using for the hard line. Again, I could go rubber all the way through. The reason I've gone for hard line is Minis are notoriously low anyway, and this will probably be quite low. It's just easier to manipulate, keep in position. With obviously the fuel tabs that you've got on the floor, it's much easier. So that's why I've opted to go for a hard line. The problem with having a hard line is you've got a couple more fuel hose clips, but not many. I mean, you've got 1, 2, what have you got? you've probably got about 4 or 6 more, but you know, I'm going to be checking this whole system out constantly anyway. Fuel, like I say, fuel is a big thing for me. Right guys, I keep having to stop and start purely because of the rain. It's coming over, then it's hammering it down, then it's anyway, forget about the rain. Right, so now onto fuel pump. So this is my genuine Bosch fuel pump. Yeah, it's genuine. Yeah, it came in a Bosch. It came in a not a Bosch box, because it was it's off eBay and it's £19.69. So a lot of people are going to go, oh, you should have bought this, should have bought that. Now the thing is, this is another reason for running the external fuel pump. If this doesn't work, it cost me 19 quid. I can swap it out for a proper one. So just to get this car running and things like that, and it might work. So the ad claims that it can do fuel injection cars up to 250 brake. I'll be lucky if I'm running 100. So even if it's only doing half of what it says it can do, that will be enough for me. I know there's a lot more involved, PSI and KPR. Is it LP litres per minute? Something like that. Anyway, there's a lot more involved in that, but you know, it seems to have some really good reviews. A couple of the guys on the Micro Powered Minis page are using them as well, so I thought I'd use that. But I mean, £19.65 I think it was. It came with little rubber boots, wire connectors, washers, nuts. Yeah. So this is obviously the reason for the reducer. So this is a 12mm, this is an 8mm. It's a bit awkward, but it's something I'm just gonna have to factor in. So yeah, I think that's probably it for the fuel system really. The injectors still need to go off to be professionally cleaned. I've just not had the time at the moment. And yeah, I think that explains it. So no point me keep rabbiting on. Hopefully that explains it. If you've got any questions, suggestions, comments, please stick them below, and we can, you know, hopefully we can have a discussion about it. And if you've got any other ways, or you think I've missed something or something like that, or can explain something more to me, you know, let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, have a great day.